All right, everybody, welcome back. Today I got something something that I never thought I'd ever purchase ever again. And not because I don't like the company. I actually do like the company. It's all about their fit and finish, and the reason why this particular company makes the things that they do. So let's go ahead and let's get into it, everybody. Let's talk blades, because that's what we're into today. I'm featuring an Emerson knife, but not any Emerson knife. This is a flipper, a balisong, if you will. The box is a little beat up. That was how I received it in the mail. It's fine. It's just a box. It's not a huge deal. Now what you're going to get in this, obviously it's going to come in this bag right here. And it's also going to have your reading material, which I think I might even keep this, just so I have some reference, you know, so that way you know how to use specific knives and you understand the workings. You know what I mean? All that teaches you certain stuff. So I actually like this. The first time I've actually seen this, actually. Any time that I have purchased, or in the past I have purchased any Emerson knives, they didn't really exactly come with this. They just came with, I think, something very, very similar to this, but not in depth. You know, kind of just straight to the point, warranty type thing, and that was it. And of course, you get your, there it goes. You get your sticker. You can barely see that. It says Emerson Knives on there, and it's in the background of mountains, trees. Interesting. Usually, I like the skull on there that says famous in the worst places. I think that one's my favorite kind of Emerson sticker. This just seems very traditional, but it's still just as cool. I might use it. I might just keep it. But yeah, that's all the stuff that comes in the box. Whenever you get an Emerson product, you get a sticker. Even when you get their clothing, if you are interested in getting any of the clothing that they sell on the website, you get like this little circle. It looks just like this. It's white, and it's got the skull on there, and it says famous in the worst places. So, really cool stuff. I even have a shirt that says hell or high water. Emerson brand. I really do like Emerson. Now the thing about this, and I know it seems a little bit schmutzy, I was flipping it and kind of just messing around with it, and the G10 is very aggressive on this. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you guys about Emerson knives. They have very aggressive G10 handle scales, and that's what they're known for. They're known for a combat EDC kind of last stitch. If you have to use it, you can, and use it for everything and anything. It kind of echoes in my head that they're trying to be like cold steel, but at the same time, they're not, because they're not cold steel and they're not wanting to be cold steel. If anything, it's the other way around. Cold steel is trying to be kind of like them. But then again, you know, that's a whole new argument, a whole new discussion for something else. I got my own opinions to that. I'm not going to discuss that unless I have to. So let's talk about this. Emerson knives. Either you like them or you hate them. I like them because they're different. I like them because of the wave feature that they're known for and famous for. I like them because they are rugged, straight to the point. They're not made to be pretty. They're made to be used. They're made to be beaten. They are the user's knife. And this says nothing less. As a balisong, this is actually quite nice. Sorry, I had to kind of flip that off camera because I'm way too close to my tripod and I don't want to hit it. So my first leg is actually right underneath here, and I'm touching it right now. Yeah, so I don't want to hit my tripod, otherwise I would have done it in front of it. Anyways, so what this knife features, I believe this steel is a 154 cm. I'm not entirely sure. I probably should have figured that out before I did this video. This isn't a bad steel, I can tell you that much. I think it's a 154 cm. If you guys know what it is, please let me know. Their blade steel doesn't really change too much. It's basically the same on every knife. It's just the blade shape that changes. So the handle scales are titanium liners and G10 on top. So really, really aggressive G10. And I have to say it's like sandpaper. It's really good for grip. And I really, really very much enjoy the texture that they put on their handles. The only thing I have to complain about is that these are not pocket friendly. It's going to shred your pockets. It's going to, like a cheese grater, it's going to shred your pockets over time. I have the pockets to prove it. It sucks, but it works. And as Emerson would say, these knives aren't meant to be pretty, they're meant to be functional. And fit and finish isn't always on par, and like I said, there's always going to be people that either love them or hate them, or the in-between. They can, you know, they like the knives, but they don't like the price. You know what I mean? Craftsmanship, I believe all this stuff that you're paying for, at the end of the day, I believe that all of their knives are hand-assembled. You know, other than the fact of the obvious factory machining work of all the cookie cutting, you know, stamp, okay, now that's the handle, stamp, okay, now that's the blade, stamp, now that's the, you know, the pin, you know, and all that other stuff, and then you got the screws holding everything together. At the end of the day, it is hand-assembled. Now, who it's inspected by, if only they had like an inspection card, because, I mean, these knives aren't cheap. Emerson knives are not cheap. They're quite expensive. The cheapest you can go is probably $180, I think is the cheapest I've ever seen an Emerson knife on their actual website. And they can range anywhere between $200 to $300 to $400 to even $600 as from my experience. And Emerson is known, you know, throughout. A lot of people actually ended up getting the idea of Emerson Knives. I'll get to that story in another time. But from somebody who I thought really didn't know anything about knives, and in fact, I was the one who didn't know anything about knives if I didn't know Emerson Knives. And the story behind Ernie Emerson and his first balisong, I think that was his first knife. He made it with like a hacksaw and a hammer, or a hacksaw and what is it, it was something. It was like a hacksaw and something else. It was like 2 or 3 simple tools that he made his very first balisong with. And it was very plain. It had 2 handles and a blade, and I think it was pin construction. It looked like everything was pinned, nothing was screwed in or anything. This is a long ways from where he first started to where he is now. And I gotta tell you, I am a fan of Ernie Emerson. I really believe that what he makes is good quality stuff. It's not the prettiest, but like he said, it's not meant to be pretty. It's meant to be functional. It's meant to be used. And this kind of shows that. And what I mean by that is some of the problems I run into with this. So I'll go ahead and get into the specs for you guys with this knife so you guys understand how big it is, how much it weighs, all that good happy stuff. So we'll go ahead and get in on the weight, just so you guys know how much you're looking at. All right, 4.8 ounces. Not bad. It is under 5 ounces. That's really good. We'll get into the blade length, handle length, and overall length. So here it is at a 4-inch handle from the handle scales, but he says 3.9, so cutting edge, yeah. To me, it almost looks like a 3.5-inch cutting edge. But, yeah, about 4-inch blade. Close to it. Still pretty damn good. The handle length, you're looking at a 5-inch handle blade. Handle blade. Handle length, excuse me. So, oh wait, overall, let's get this all on there. I want to see about, okay, 9 1/4 inches altogether. Now, whether that bothers you or doesn't, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a big knife, but it's also not small. So, with that, it's decent, at least in my eyes anyway. Okay, so we'll get into the width of things. So those handles come in at 11.7, and the blade, blade comes in at a 1.5. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. I don't think it's going to take up too much space in the pocket, but I can tell you one thing. At a $300 price range that this is in, I think it's Blade HQ, I think it was $330, $348, something like that. Close to $400 at the most. I don't know when this video is going to be seen, but price ranges vary. Now, the Emerson butterfly knives that I'm used to seeing have this little like ramp thing with the Emerson Wave on it. And the reason for that is so that way it has a thumb ramp, and that's what Ernie Emerson was talking about. You have somewhere to rest your thumb, and it's got the jimping on it and the little wave. And the reason for the wave is because that's what they're known for. So that's the reason why he added it onto his knives, so that way you understand that, you know, that's what they're famous for. So that's like their little trademark thing. Now, the reason why I bought this is because this is the only one that doesn't have that stupid ramp. I'm not saying stupid as in I don't like it. Stupid, I think it's because I don't think it's functional for a butterfly knife, because a butterfly knife doesn't need that. You don't really necessarily, if anything, it just gets in the way when you're flipping. And that's what I've heard a lot of people say when they have that little ramp there. That's why I got this one instead. It looks very traditional, and just having the Emerson logo on there is just enough for me to know that it's an Emerson knife. Especially with the build quality, I know it's an Emerson knife, and I don't need a wave feature to show me or tell me or prove to me that it truly is an Emerson knife. The things I don't like about this knife, I'm going to tell you right off the bat. I can pace myself. These pins. Now, a lot of people say that they like Zen pins over Tang pins. I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't bother me either way. If it works, it works. If the knife looks good, the handles look good, I don't pay attention to Zen pins or Tang pins. If the model has it, and it works. That's how I see it. But some people prefer one or the other, and that's fine. Do I think that Zen pins are cleaner? Yes. They're much cleaner. They're out of the way. They're in the handle. So you don't really get to, you don't bother with the pins being out in the open. A lot of people think that Tang pins are ugly. To be honest with you, I don't really focus on the pins. I don't really see them. When I'm flipping my knife, or if I'm using it, or if I'm carrying it, the pins don't get in the way of anything. They don't really seem to be a problem. Even aesthetically to me, I don't see them. Unless I'm focusing on them, I don't really pay attention to them. They serve a purpose, so and that purpose is fine. So here it is, the moment of truth, the one thing that kind of bothers me about these knives. And when you get it, be aware, all right? You see these Tang pins? This side is longer than this side. And the same thing on the other side right here. You can see that this Tang pin right here is also the same way. Shorter up here, longer on the bottom. Why is that? Well, like I said, it's not perfect. They're not loose. If I'm pressing on it, it's not moving around. Now, if I wanted to make it even, I could take a little hammer to it and just tap it and see if it'll go. But it's not loose, and it still works. It prevents the knife from over-traveling, or the handles from over-traveling either way, open or closed. So neither of them are loose, neither of them, I can't push them, so... But like Ernie says, these knives are not meant to be pretty. So if it works, it works. Another thing that bothers me about this particular model is this thing, the latch. Now, what bothers me about this latch? Now, what I really like is the consideration that you can, if you want to, you can screw the tension. You're in control of the tension of this latch. So you can have it be really loose, or you can have it be ultra tight. You know what I mean? And that's nice and all, but the thing that bothers me about this is that this is just a screw. All right, it's a threaded piece that has no stop protection for it to come loose or undone. So if you are swinging this thing like crazy and flipping it like crazy and doing all kinds of crazy ass tricks and whatever you guys do, and this comes off, you're going to be without this. But of course, a lot of times nowadays, people remove the latch so they can have a latchless butterfly knife, which to me I think is a little weird. Like I said in my other videos, I prefer my butterfly knives to have the latch because it serves a purpose. It closes and keeps the knife closed at all times when I don't need it open. And secondly, it indicates the bite handle. So if I'm grabbing this thing and it doesn't have a pocket clip, I'm not going to know which handle is the bite handle unless I physically look at it. So with that being said, when you purchase this knife, I would suggest that you put some sort of Loctite on there just to keep this thing from being lost while you're flipping it open or closed. Is that a big problem? To me, it can be, because that means that you would have to ritually check on this thing to make sure that you haven't lost it or that it isn't too far loose that you're going to lose it, because this is only threaded. So the times that I've flipped it open and closed, this thing flops up and down. Over time, this will become loose enough to where you might end up losing it. But let's see how far it goes and see if it's even useful at that point. No, it's not. So you would notice it, I guess. That is, if you notice it before you lose it. So I guess it serves a purpose. But I would still put some sort of Loctite on there just to keep the damn thing from getting, lost in the future. Pocket clip is fine. It's just their standard pocket clip that Emerson uses. That's just, a bent piece of metal in order to serve a purpose, and that's fine. But this loose latch thing, I wish they could have put something there to stop this thing from come out completely, because, like I said, this is just a screw. It's just a screw. It's a glorified screw. That's all it is. Doesn't anger me. I still think this is a fantastic knife, but what I still don't understand to this day is why a lot of people, they remove their latch. And I know some people say it's because it throws off the balance when you're flipping. I'm just a traditional type of guy. I know how to do some of those tricks, and they're all flashy and cool, but I don't think they're practical. I don't think they're very practical. If you know how to open and close it, that's just the extent of it. It's a knife. You use it as such. I'm not going to use it for any type of crazy aerials or tricks that, require me to risk cutting myself, because at the end of the day, that's my stupidity, It doesn't matter how good you are, accidents still happen, and I've even seen a dude stab his own arm after doing an aerial, and not just from YouTube, but in real life, with a $600 balisong. To this day, he still feels it. Like, he hit a nerve or something, and he cut something in his arm, and he still feels it today. And that is more than enough proof for me not to want. And this guy is a professional at what he does, flipping his knives. You will not see me do too many of those, especially aerials. I think it's really dangerous. But hey, if you're good at doing it and that's your thing, man. I'm just telling you why I don't do it, or why I don't see any practicality in it. So anyways, my overall thoughts on this knife: it's a fantastic knife. If you have the money to spare on this Emerson knife, why not? It's a fantastic addition to anybody's collection. And overall, I like Emerson. Emerson knives are great. They really are. They're top-notch stuff. Price tag could be a little better, sure. Things I would change about this knife in particular: I'd lose this pocket clip, because there's just way too much sticking out of the pants pocket when you're putting it in there. And I would literally put some kind of Loctite in there just to keep this thing just a little bit safer, even for a little while longer. And if you're wondering, now I forgot to add this, what's up with the screwdriver bits, or the screwdriver hardware? The reason behind this is so that any typical, situation that requires you to repair the knife, or for any instance to take it apart, you're able to go through a regular setting and find something in a drawer or in a toolbox that isn't just a hex bit, because sometimes hex tools are really hard to find, and not everybody has hex tools. So to see a screwdriver kind of hardware just means that it's just going to be a little bit easier for you to disassemble or reassemble or repair or even replace certain parts on a knife. And that was the intention through Ernie Emerson, purposely. So that way it's easier for the user, more practical. And I believe that is a fantastic idea. You know, I mean, a screw is a screw. And to me, if it works, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? But at the same time, you want it to be as easy for you as possible. So that's one thing that I actually admire about Emerson's mindset about, you know, because I didn't know what the heck a Torx bit was. You know, it was just recently that I learned about what a Torx bit was. I literally went to Sears one time, my first time ever really learning about a Torx bit. I got a hex tool and put it in the Torx screw, and I actually stripped both the tool and the screw. And it was useless after that. I couldn't do anything. And that was my fault because I didn't even know what a Torx bit was. I know what these are. Everybody knows what these are. You know what I mean? And that's fantastic. That's... Hell, when I was a kid, you know, this is common sense. Like, okay, it's either flat or a T, all right? But what the heck? You know, when you see a hex or when you see a Torx, that kind of just makes you scratch your head and go, okay, now I need to go find that tool. Let's hope I have that, and then let's hope it's in the right place, you know? But screwdrivers, man, I think I got like 5 or 6 screwdrivers in different places that I already know, you know? It's just a little bit more convenient. Would I have this for every knife? No, absolutely not. But it's just nice to see. It really is a nice addition, nice to see. So, anyways, I think I made this video long enough. The one thing that I can close out with this is that it has fantastic grip. Yeah, the aggressive G10 is kind of a thing that might turn people off, but it adds really good grip. Like, when I'm flipping, I don't feel like I'm going to drop this thing. Like, there's a lot of balisongs that have the metal, and that's nice, you know, and that's why they have the patterning that they do on the handle, so that way you got some grip. This doesn't need patterning for a good reason. It's got aggressive G10. This isn't really going anywhere when you're flipping it open or closed. I have a fantastic grip on this thing. It doesn't slide up or slide down, and that's a good thing. So, yeah. Anyways, Emerson Knives, get you one if you can. Blade HQ still has them, I believe, I hope. I was actually pretty excited because not all the time do I get Emerson Knives, because they are quite expensive. And I can tell you right now that